So there was a time I was genuinely afraid to fall asleep. Not because of nightmares, but because I was afraid I wouldn't wake up. This is what obesity did to me. At my heaviest, I weighed 115 kilograms. I suffered from severe arthritis, severe sleep apnea, nervous disorders, and I was already pre-diabetic. I could hardly walk, let alone exercise. I could hardly focus, and the most frightening thing is that I thought I was doing everything correctly. I was living healthily. Fast forward today, I weigh 82 kilograms. I sleep peacefully. I'm able to exercise nicely, move around my joints with no problems at all. I have reclaimed my life, and this wasn't luck. This journey is personal, but also scientific. I am a survivor of obesity. I am a trained scientist with degrees in biotechnology and management. I am also a licensed medical doctor. So what I share here with you is not hype, social media trends, theories, or bluffing. It is lived experience backed by physiology and medicine. Obesity is not a failure of discipline. It is a failure of metabolic health. And much of what we were taught about food, dieting, and weight loss over decades was wrong. It was shaped by industry interests, not human biology. To heal, we must first unlearn. In this video, I'm going to break down what actually drives fat gain and fat loss. I am going to decipher why insulin, not calories, is the real gatekeeper, how visceral fat silently damages your organs, and the practical science-based strategies that helped me and others and my patients reverse obesity and metabolic syndrome. If you are serious about reclaiming your health, your sleep, your energy, your future, subscribe, stay with me, and let's walk this journey together. Let's start by understanding what obesity really is and why it is not your fault.
Hello viewers, my name is Dr. George Atan Maluleke. Welcome back to Exploring Lifestyles and Legacies. Today we are talking about weight loss. I've decided to research and pull together all the scientifically correct and medically sound advice, methods, hacks into weight loss. My biggest motivation is that I managed to escape the scourge of obesity and its complications, not only by my efforts, but by being helped by others. And therefore, I also want to return the favor and help others who seek to lose weight for a better health living. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe, like, tap the notification bell, and share this content with whomever you think is going to benefit from weight loss tips. I used to weigh 115 kilograms, and now I weigh 82 kilograms, and I managed to achieve this over a period of not more than 6 months. I have suffered from the complications of being obese, like sleep apnea, which is a quite terrifying illness whereby you feel like somebody is literally strangling you while you are sleeping. You can't breathe. And I wouldn't wish it even to my worst enemy. I also suffered from severe arthritis. Even when I'm a fitness fanatic, walking was even a problem. It was painful, let alone exercise. Arthritis is such a distressful illness. I also suffered from prediabetes, and I experienced generalized body weakness and pain. I could hardly concentrate. And all this while, I thought I was living my life the most correct and healthy way. We'll explain more as we go along how I was getting it wrong and what are the methods to get this right for you. Learn from my experience and my mistakes and spare yourselves from repeating the same mistakes and get yourself through a quicker recovery. A lot of our mistakes are a result of decades long of wrong information coming out of the food industry. They were looking after their pockets, not looking after our health. Most of the things that they were talking about to be correct, we now know the opposite is the exact truth. These were things that favored the commercial food industry and not necessarily out of ignorance of the industry practitioners. No, they knew the truth. We must now learn to unlearn these lies and virtually do the opposite of what they were saying. One of the biggest scandals from the food industry is the way they've used industrial starch. This is a substance that is virtually bland that they use to bulk up foods, and also seed oils. The method used to extract seed oils are quite volatile. They become easily rancid. But the industry have used industrial chemicals like hexane and petrochemicals to deodorize, to remove the colors, to add the colors that they want, and to even to adjust the flavor of the oil. The other big scandal here is monosodium glutamate, which is an additive that makes people to overconsume food beyond satiate levels. And also artificial colorings and artificial flavorings, which are very bright, attracts children and adults into thinking that these are very palatable foods, that these are nutritious foods, and yet the opposite is the truth. Their main aim is to get people addicted to these foods so that their pockets can become fatter. So who am I to speak on this subject authoritatively? My credentials are as follows. Firstly, I am a survivor of this scourge of obesity. Secondly, I'm a qualified scientist who holds the Bachelor of Science degrees in biotechnology and management, and that allows me to understand some of the underpinning concepts. And thirdly, I am a qualified and licensed general practitioner and hold the Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery degrees. It is important for you to appreciate all this so that you know that the person who's holding your hand on this journey is a very much shared journey. I have also suffered from the bad effects of being overweight and of being obese. If you are watching this, you have committed yourself somehow to overcome obesity and its associated problems like metabolic syndrome. Congratulations. You need a lot of courage, and you have found your partner on the weight loss journey. One of the main principles around weight loss is to appreciate this fact that diet accounts for approximately 95% of achieving weight loss. While this exercise is very, very important for your health, it plays a very negligible role in weight loss. I will explain. You cannot outrun the fork, literally. What you eat in 60 seconds or 1 minute can take you up to an hour of proper vigorous exercise in order for you to burn it out. What you eat badly for one day would require you to spend a whole week doing vigorous exercise and without eating for you to burn out that energy. We can see all those scenarios. Even for an hour's exercise is pretty much difficult for most people. We pretty much live sedentary lives these days. The solution lies in not overeating. Now let's define some of the key terms. Visceral fat, what is it? Visceral fat is when you look down, straight down to your feet, yeah, and you can see your stomach protruding. That is shows that you've got visceral and a fatty liver. This is a fat around your essential organs, fat around the liver, fat around the heart, fat around the pancreas, and other essential organs can be seen on an ultrasound scan. This fat is not innate, but it is metabolically active and it produces inflammatory cytokines. And when you have inflammation, that is when you have illnesses such as arthritis. Also, when you have this visceral fat around our essential organs, it makes the organs smaller from the mass effect and also from the inflammatory cytokines and inflammation from the fat. You get their functions to be compromised. They become less efficient and in some cases can even lead to severe morbidity and fatality. It is also important to appreciate that both alcoholic and non-alcoholic fat liver disease are a result of carbohydrates. So now as we unravel this story of being obese and how to lose weight, we are now appreciating some of the main concepts that carbohydrate leads to obesity. So on some of the tactics we use to lose fat and to gain to our desired weight outcomes is a principle called intermittent fasting. Participate in intermittent fasting. What is this? This is basically when you choose your eating window. For example, if we say 18-6, it means that you are fasting for 18 hours and your eating window is 6 hours. So how do you do this? When I'm talking to my clients, my patients, I ask them which meal is easier for them to skip. This will make it easy for both myself and my clients, because if a patient is involved in the decision making as to how to get healthier, they tend to stick to those timelines. So, for example, somebody can decide it's easier for them to skip breakfast and they can start eating, as an example, at 2 p.m. It means that their last eating should be by 8 p.m. if it is an 18-6 intermittent fasting arrangement. But eventually, we also encourage our patients, after they get used to that sort of 18-6 arrangement, to eating even once a day while you are on your journey to lose the amount of weight you want to lose. During the fasting period, you can drink water. You are encouraged to stay very much hydrated. You can drink black coffee without sugar. What does it do? The coffee will raise the basal metabolic rate so that you can burn even more fat. You can use up even more of the excess glucose around. Also, green tea is another good alternative. Green tea has got antioxidants called catechins that also raise the basal metabolic rate, and whilst being antioxidants as well. Portion control is also very important. You must use smaller bowls to measure and save your food. Use a professionally formulated diet plan to cater for all your nutrients you need according to your specific requirements of your situation. This is particularly important because obese patients can overeat without realizing it. Eating can also be out of habit, out of culture, the way you were taught how to eat as a child by your parents, the way you see your community eating and things like that. And yet we now want our eating to be informed by the way our body is and how we need to get healthier. Supplements are also important, but this should be add-ons, not exclusively as the only thing that you have for your diet. Like just taking protein supplements, that's not good enough, because you also need fats and a bit of the other essential nutrients, minerals, and vitamins. The way we eat is also important on your weight loss journey. If you chew your food deliberately, thoroughly, you give your body a chance and time to trigger the satiety signals. Intuitive eating is eating when you are hungry, but only to a point of satiety, and you do not want to overeat beyond that. Snacking is thoroughly discouraged because it causes repeated insulin spikes. This should be generally reduced or avoided. Also, another hack is bulk food preparation of your meals and store them in advance, for example, for a week. This has several advantages. The first one being that you will prevent yourself from buying junk food when you are too tired, you are coming from work or from school, or you are just too tired to cook, or you are just too lazy to cook on that day. Secondly, you are in control of what type of food you eat. And thirdly, you are in control of the actual ingredients that you use. You can avoid seed oils and use olive oil or lard to cook your meals. And also, finally, you are saving money while you are staying healthier. Water is also quite an important and essential nutrient for your body. It keeps appetite. You can have a glass or two before your meal and you'll get satisfied quicker. Water-induced thermogenesis also expends energy. Thirdly, you get rid of waste products from your kidneys via kidney excretion. Also, water and staying well hydrated protects your kidneys from damage. It also helps bloating. And finally, when you are well hydrated, this fuels exercise performance. What about the calories in and calories out method? That one, mathematically, it is an excellent equation. Then scientifically, it's a great hypothesis. But practically, it's virtually impractical. It's a very difficult concept to carry out. Then your exercises during your weight loss journey. These must be a combo. It must include cardio. Cardio exercises are good for your heart health. They help with heart rate variability, especially high intensity interval training. Weight training too is very important. It burns calories while it's exercising and continuing to burn energy while you are resting, because when you are exercising, this is basically on the muscles. It's breaking down, or what we say, catabolic energy expenditure. And when you are resting, we call that the building up or anabolic energy expenditure. Exercise boosts our mood, because when we exercise, we generate endorphins in our brains, and these keep us happy. Joints are also made supple through exercise, thereby preventing stiffness. And on our definition of aging, we say this is a loss of function, and in particular, if you lose function with your joints, it means you are getting stiffer. Exercise also decreases anxiety and depression, thereby increasing our confidence, and when we are more confident, we achieve higher. So what is the rationale of high intensity interval training as one of the best exercises we are advocating for. If you look on the evolutionary thought trend, humans would walk for miles and ends whilst they were hunting or gathering. They would then also sprint for short distances so that they chase the animal and throw the spear. Therefore, likewise, high intensity interval training or HIIT makes sense in a similar evolutionary manner. It promotes weight loss, it promotes muscle building, it improves heart rate variability. Sleep, like I always emphasize, is not a luxury. It is an integral part to weight loss because 95% of weight loss happens while we are sleeping. And what is good sleep is generally regarded on average 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Sleep facilitates body repairs, it balances out our hormones, and it consolidates our memory. All these are conducive for weight loss. Aim to make sure that you have adequate amount of sleep. Now let's look at insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone. It prevents your body from utilizing fat, but it promotes you to keep on building on that fat. So it rather causes fat accumulation. Exercise will not achieve weight loss if insulin is high. That's why when we go back to the story of sleep, we say you need adequate sleep, because if you don't get adequate sleep, your cortisol levels, they increase, your adrenaline also increases, your stress hormones generally increase, and when these ones increase, they cause insulin to increase as well, and you end up storing more fat. You won't lose weight. Insulin levels, we say, are also related to snacking. When you snack, you're spiking your insulin levels. It's getting higher and higher, and once you get your insulin high, you won't be able to use your stored fat. You actually accumulate, you store more fat. Right, now let's explore what I would like to term Dr. Begg's visceral fat fixes. Please check on my references. I literally just got this from how Dr. Begg described. It makes perfect sense. Let's look at Dr. Begg's first fat fix, which is decrease insulin. Right, we said if you look straight down on your feet and you can see your tummy protruding, it means you have visceral fat, and you also have a fatty liver. Cutting out carbohydrates completely for 2 weeks can result in significant decrease of up to approximately 50% of your fat. You can burn it away through doing that. Small frequent meals are a bad idea because they will trigger what? Insulin spike, which will prevent you from burning your fat. Therefore, it's not only about removing the carbohydrate, but on Dr. Begg's first fat fix, you must also eat less frequently. Most probably go on to your intermittent fasting or a prolonged fast. Dr. Begg's second fat fix is to eat fat. Okay, once again, this is the opposite of what the industry were telling you before. You must be in ketosis to burn fat, and you can only do this by eating fat. Ketones are easier digestible packages of fat, and it's a great way for your body to package fat to use as fuel. You switch your metabolism to fat metabolism by eating animal fats or good dairy fats and plant fats such as avocados. Aim to eventually decrease your carbohydrate intake to 0. If you don't go into ketosis, you end up losing muscle mass. The third fix is to do with apple cider vinegar. I've added lemon juice on this one, although Dr. Begg doesn't really talk about lemon juice. You add 2 tablespoons in a glass of water and drink. This can be done just before you have your main meal, even 20 minutes before. It inactivates the enzyme called salivary amylase. This is the one that is responsible for breaking down starch into assimilable glucose substrate. Glucose is the one that spikes blood sugar levels and can cause insulin spike. So if you inactivate that enzyme, it means that you are no longer breaking down the starch. The starch will pass through our digestive system as it is, and we prevent weight gain. On Dr. Begg's fourth fix, we talk about why counting calories is outdated and a wrong theory. Small frequent meals were thought to be fashionable, and the industry would encourage that. Obviously, they wanted to sell their snacks and other things like that, until a much better understanding of human physiology now emerges. It was thought small frequent meals meant more burning of calories. However, we now know that the small frequent meals actually causes a repeated insulin spike, which when our insulin is high will cause us to store our energy as fat. Therefore, it will cause the opposite of what you would intend there. It will cause you to gain weight rather than to lose weight. Then let's talk about how to get rid of subcutaneous fat. This happens after you lose visceral fat, and it comes off as a bonus. It developed as part of our evolution because we would go for a long time, remember, looking for food, and you probably won't get it. And if there was a drought or something like that, food, in times of food scarcity, we would draw down from our subcutaneous fat for survival. Also, subcutaneous fat developed in the colder climates as an insulation to keep our core body temperatures at homeostatic levels. So, to lose visceral fat, we need to decrease our carbohydrate virtually to zero. We also need to have adequate sleep, since we said 95% of our weight loss occurs while we are sleeping, and we generally need to be less stressed so that our stress hormones are lower and we don't spike the cortisol and the adrenalines that will end up also spiking our insulin levels. The sixth hack revolves around brown fat. These brown fats contain high dense energy mitochondria. Cold immersion therapy of 11 minutes a week is recommended for us to lose our brown fat. High intensity interval training is also known to mobilize brown fat for energy. Now let's talk about the skinny fat. This occurs on individuals who eat a lot of carbohydrates and snack a lot but appear physically to be fit. But when you do ultrasound scanning of their essential organs, you typically find them to have accumulated visceral fat. These individuals have genetics that make them look fatless but are not that very healthy. Then let's talk about visceral fat versus the fat liver. Where does the accumulation of fat start? It typically starts in the liver and then spills over to other organs. Liver fat makes the liver actually smaller through mass effect and also due to the inflammation. We said fat produces those inflammatory cytokines. Both the alcoholic and non-alcoholic fat liver disease is because of excessive intake of carbohydrates. Therefore, it is essential for us to limit carbohydrates or even take them to zero while we are on our weight loss journey. Then let's talk about glucagon mobilization. Eat fat meat to mobilize it. Glucagon does the opposite of insulin because it mobilizes glucose from storage and makes it available for metabolism. We can gain some of our weight loss milestones through glucagon mobilization. And yes, we want to withdraw ourselves from carbohydrates, but what are the side effects of a massive decrease in carbohydrates? You can get headaches, you can get nausea, fatigue, borborygmi. So kindly add salt to your meals and water to mitigate against this side effect. Once again, the lie around salt and hypertension and its bad effects. Salt is good for you. It is essential. Sodium is used very much within the body. So there are 5 things to avoid in your diet for healthier living. All these 5 bad things, the food industry have relentlessly forced us upon these while they knew that they are not particularly healthy for us, but good for their pockets. So let's explore them. Like what I mentioned earlier on, industrial starches. These come as bland powders. They are not sweet. You will eat them without even knowing. Industrial starches is responsible for spiking our blood sugar. They are used as fillers in virtually everything. Pastries, bacon. Protein powders have starch, cheese, collagen powders, low-carb breads, and even flavored jerkies of beef or chicken or even venison. Potato starches are similarly bad. They are essentially chained up sugars. Secondly, seed oils. These include canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower, corn oil, rapeseed oil, and rice bran oil. These are the worst things for our health because of the processing involved. Particularly, these are very unstable and reactive oils and quickly go rancid. But chemicals like hexane, which are petroleum products and other industrial chemicals, are used to deodorize, decolorize, and preserve the seed oils. They are also known to have a high amount of omega-6, which is highly inflammatory. And these make up to 25% of calories and are unsafe. Let's look at sugars and artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, Splenda, and sucralose are made from adding chemicals like chlorine to sugar. Together with sugar or individually, they are known to disrupt microbiomes in our guts and thereby create a lot of problems. Artificial sweeteners called the sugar alcohols like xylitol and erythritol have no added chemicals but are made from fermenting sugar. They tend to be healthier, but some people are known to develop digestive problems as well from this. The first artificial sweetener was in the 1800s, and surprisingly, it was a petrochemical byproduct. Then monosodium glutamate. It is used in scientific experiments to fatten up mice in obesity studies. It causes them to overeat. Restaurants which use monosodium glutamate also want you to be like those rats, to overeat. And you spike your blood sugars and make you feel hungry quicker, thereby spiking insulin, and you massively gain weight as you store more and more fat. It is added even to cheese. Please read the labels when you get to supermarkets and avoid monosodium glutamate. Let's look at artificial colors. Red dye 3, red dye 40. They contribute to belly fat and results in increased inflammation. Colorants are essentially added to make these bad foods attractive, and the flavorings to make them taste better, while nutritionally they are not good for us and they will be causing an insulin spike. Red dyes are also industrial chemicals which are known to cause neural issues, increase inflammation, and some of them are even carcinogenic. Today we have unpacked the real causes of obesity and metabolic syndrome. We have talked and explored why obesity is not a failure of willpower, but a disorder of metabolism driven by insulin, visceral fat, inflammation, sleep disruption, and years of nutritional misinformation. We have explored why diets matter more for weight loss than exercise, why you can't outrun the fog, how intermittent fasting works, why frequent snacks blocks fat loss, and why metabolic health, not calorie obsession, is the true path to sustainable weight loss. It is important to be clear, everything shared here is for public health educational purposes only. Weight loss and metabolic health are not one size fits all. Personalized medicine requires a proper medical history, individual assessment, and professional consultation before making major dietary and lifestyle changes. In the next videos, I hope you will join me as I go deeper into practical strategies, common mistakes that sabotage fat loss, and how to safely apply these principles based on where you are in your journey. If this content helped you, please subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss the next episode. Like the video and share it with somebody who needs this information. These actions will train YouTube algorithm to recommend this content to people who are silently
struggling with obesity and they don't know what to do or who to turn to. This journey is very much possible. It is also very scientific and you don't have to walk it alone. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.